In yesterday's news conference at Mar-a-Lago, I know, but we're just going to have to deal. This is the world in which we now live. Donald continued to talk about his, quite frankly, bizarre intentions to Americanize the world. Here's a little of what he had to say.
So we're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
So beautiful. Yes, naming things you have absolutely no control over naming. That sounds like a great way to spend your time when you're about to be president of the United States. But listen, according to Donald's logic, the Gulf of Mexico could be called the Gulf of Cuba. Look at all those other countries that border on the Gulf, and these things are dictated by international agreements that have been reached long ago. These define the boundaries of territorial waters. And according to the UN, the U.S. territorial waters only extend 12 nautical miles from the coastline. So it's absurd. It's absurd that the United States has more of a right to name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Mexico and the U.S. share a nearly equal number of coastline miles, although Mexico actually has 60 more miles of coastline than the U.S. does. But I think in the grand scheme of things, that is probably one of the least alarming things Donald has to say in terms of his imperialistic intentions. But before we get deeper into the delusions of the boy king, please just take a second to like and share this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And after you subscribe, please hit the bell because that way you'll be notified anytime a new video drops. Also, if you're listening to the podcast, please give us a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. All right. So now back to the current insanity, because it is not just the Gulf of Mexico or America, if you're deluded, on Donald's mind. He has for many years now taken a great interest in Greenland. This is what he had to say about that yesterday.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Okay. Wow. First of all, there are 57,000 people on Greenland. Secondly, Denmark absolutely has control over Greenland, and everybody except you apparently knows that, unless, as usual, you're lying through your teeth. Some people in Greenland may indeed want their independence, but they are also dependent upon the money they get every year from Denmark. Nobody in Greenland, or very, very few people in Greenland anyway, would ever want to become part of the United States of America. So what is this all about? I mean, obviously, Greenland does have strategic importance to the United States, but it's entirely up to Greenland and Denmark to decide whether and when to allow us access to Greenland for the purposes of national security, right? So to make things even more alarming, Donnie, Failson, visited Greenland along with noted United States Ambassador Charlie Kirk. Check out this clip.
President-elect Trump said today that owning and controlling Greenland is a necessity. And today his son Don Jr. headed there on Trump Force One to scope it out.
Donald Trump Jr. and a band of Trump loyalists landed on Greenland today to promote the president-elect's dream of turning the vast, frigid island into the 51st state.
Just incredible scenery.
Greenland, located in the North Atlantic off the coast of Canada, has long been a Trump obsession. It's 3 times the size of Texas, but mostly covered in ice. The population, just 57,000 people. Don Jr. handed out MAGA hats and got his dad on the phone to address a group of locals at a restaurant in the capital, Nuuk.
We're going to treat you well, and you know that, and just take care of yourselves.
So, can Trump actually purchase Greenland? Not likely. It's a territory of Denmark. Greenland is ours, the Prime Minister declared. We are not for sale and will never be for sale.
I'm not really sure why there was any equivocation there. Can Donald really buy Greenland? No, he can't. And also, how does this work? First of all, nobody wants Donnie representing America anywhere, even on a tiny island with only 50,000, 7,000 people. The icebergs don't even want him there. Okay. But how did that work? Who did he call? It's like, who's in charge of Greenlanders for fascism? Hey guys, can you get 7 people who we can pay to wear MAGA hats? I mean, as if that were a representative sample of what the people of Greenland want. Of course, then Donald posted a video yesterday on his failing social media platform of a man actually from Greenland allegedly pleading for the United States to buy his country. It turns out, of course, that the man is a convicted drug dealer. I'm sure that's entirely coincidental. A violent criminal and a serial offender. And this is according to the Danish media outlet DR News. Not going to show you the video, but this is a picture of the guy. And on his post, Donald wrote, quote, "I am hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously when it becomes part of our nation. Make Greenland great again. Yeah, leave it the fuck alone. That'll go a long way." But, of course, Donald's imperialistic ambitions do not end there. He also wants to take the Panama Canal back from Panama. I do not know how that will work functionally. And yesterday, when he was asked during this bizarre presser if he would use military force against either Greenland or Panama or both, here was his response.
I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to dig too deeply into that, but, we have never had a problem with the Panama Canal and how that all operates before. Not entirely sure why it does now. And that's really not the main issue here. The main issue is that the guy who's going to be president of the United States did not rule out using military force against our allies, one of whom is our NATO ally. We may think it's funny. We may think that he is just an idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, that's true. But trust me, our allies are not laughing this off. They are taking this seriously, as they should, because whether or not Donald will use military force, it's unlikely that he would be allowed to. In what universe is that acceptable rhetoric for anybody to be using, let alone the guy who's going to be running this country? He also can't seem to let go of the whole annexing Canada and making it our 51st state thing. Check out this clip.
But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take that 20% of our car market. You know, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk.
Ooh, we got a lot of milk. We kind of need their steel and aluminum, though. Once again, Donald doesn't know what he's talking about. And, let's say for a second that Canada had any interest in becoming our 51st state. Hooray, 2 more Democratic senators, be a really big blue state. I'm all for that. You know who's not, though? Canadians. And I'm pretty sure they have more say than anybody else. In fact, outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau hit back at Donald's threat to use, quote, economic force, unquote, to absorb Canada into the U.S. and said that there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will become part of the United States, but keeps posting these memes on social media like this one. I mean, again, no Canadian wants Canada to become a 51st state of the United States. Canada is an independent nation. It has its own government. It has its own cultures and traditions. And recent polling suggests that the vast majority of Canadians do not want to see their country become part of America. The Miami Herald is reporting today that in a Ledger survey, 82% of respondents, that's a lot of people in any survey, said they would not like Canada to become the 51st state of the United States. Only 13%, said that they would be in favor of annexation. And I'm not entirely sure why they think that would be a good idea. So again, it may sound ridiculous and it may sound absurd, but these aren't hollow threats. Some of Donald's biggest sycophants are already making the case for Donald's imperialist ambitions. Marjorie Greene is actually introducing legislation to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, that is how we are spending our tax dollars to pay that idiot's salary. And then, speaking of idiots, there's Tommy Tuberville and his thoughts on the Panama Canal, which sadly he decided to share with us.
We've got to take the Panama Canal back. We've got to do something, because if we were to happen to go to war with China over Taiwan and they were to shut the Panama Canal down, we'd have to go 8,000 to 10,000 miles longer just to get things back to the war zone if we had to go from the East Coast to China.
Wow. What an insight from a man who has the IQ of a turnip. Listen, this is, we are 13 days out from the day Donald will actually take power. I am sorry to say, I think that this is just the beginning. He's just starting to throw down the gauntlet. We need to be prepared. And although it is fun to mock all of them, we also need to take this stuff seriously, especially given how our allies likely are responding. So thank you so much for joining me today. Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on Donald's plans to Americanize the world. Until next time, please stay safe and stay informed. See you soon.